Hey, Dusk the Viking here. Welcome to my mega guide for Phasmophobia. A lot of people were requesting a longer, more in-depth guide, so here it is. We're going to cover everything from A to Z in this guide, a breakdown for all the items, tips, the ghosts, you name it. So real quick, let's break down how I'm going to set this guide up. First, we're going to just throw out some tips, top 10 tips for the game. Then I'm going to go through all the items, break them down, show you how to use them. And then we're going to move on to the ghost types to help you identify the ghost types, what to look out for. And then last but not least, we'll throw in a little bit of gameplay and kind of like show some of the knowledge put together. First things first, before we get started though, when I make guides, and this is typical for all the type of guides that I make, I like to leave them a little bit free form when I can. I don't want to tell you how to play the game. I want to help you understand the game so that you can play it your way. Games are a little bit more fun that way. You get to express your play style and you're not just kind of like plugging in a formula and letting the formula play the game for you. And eventually you might even move beyond the guide and develop stuff that isn't even used in the guide, or in some points it might even contradict what's in the guide. But hopefully this is a really great starting point and it can give you a whole lot of information on everything in the game to this point. With that said, let's get started. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is start with the tips. Going to give you like top 10 tips, because everybody likes a top 10 list, right? Sure. Anyway, tip number 1, and this is the one, really just the question I get asked the most. How do you, when using mouse and keyboard, do you turn your flashlight on while holding another item? I probably wouldn't put this on the list, but a lot of people ask this. It really trips up new players. So here's the deal. If you pick up a flashlight and then pick up another item and you rotate to the other item, but your flashlight's still in your inventory, press the T key and it'll turn the flashlight on. It like sits on your belt or in your other, I don't know where the flashlight is, but it turns on and you can see. Also, that little shoulder mounted flashlight thing you have, that's actually a separate light source. If you do not have your flashlight or drop your flashlight or somehow lose your flashlight, if you get really close to a wall in the game, that little shoulder light will actually be enough light to see the wall. So if you get lost or you're looking for a light switch, just hug the wall of a room and it'll actually illuminate the wall and you can kind of see where you're going. So there you go. Tip number 2, keep an eye on your sanity. The ghosts react to or feed off of your low sanity. Most players agree, and I agree, that the ghost reacts to the average sanity of the investigators that are currently inside the building. Players outside the building are not considered with the average. And so for this reason, it's a good idea if things are starting to get dangerous to let the lowest sanity players leave the building first. Alright, tip number 3. Avoid using the ghost's name until you need to. Using the ghost's name will actually anger it. You do not need to use their name when you're talking to them. You can say, "Where are you? Can you give me a sign?" The ghost can hear you and will react to phrases that it wants to react to. If the ghost is being stubborn and doesn't want to give signs, then you can use their name to anger them and bait them into giving you clues. Tip number 4 kind of ties into last tip. An angry ghost is an active ghost. If using its name doesn't get the results you want, try and figure out if it has some items in its room that you can take. Take its items out of the room, out of the house. If you want to, you can swear at it. These things both will anger the ghost. Keep in mind, an angry ghost is more likely to enter a hunt. Tip number 5. Everybody's going to develop their own play styles, and that's awesome. So when you're debating on which items you should bring first, or which items are the best, or which items are your favorite, that's really purely up to you, with a few exceptions. Some items are not very good at sweeping, like the ghostwriting book, for example. And to an effect, the spirit box is also one of those items. Items that you need to place or keep in one spot and location and then wait for a response are typically not very good items to sweep with. So save those for later after you've identified the ghost's room. The UV light is also one that you probably want to hang on to until later. Tip number 6, don't be afraid to talk to the ghost. You don't have to say their name, but talking to it is fine. Ask them for signs. This can often help you find the room a lot quicker. Tip number 7, be efficient, especially with your time inside the house or the location. The quicker you can go in, check things, and then get out, the higher you will maintain your sanity, which is good for long term, especially if you're having trouble with a more difficult, stubborn, or shy ghost. This also means that once you find a clue with, let's say, the spirit box, don't keep talking on the spirit box, move to the next item and start trying to get the next clue out. Now, of course, if you're just having fun and you like talking on the spirit box, knock yourself out. It's like it's a game. It's a spooky game. Have some fun with it. But you're probably going to die because your sanity is going to drop because you're messing around, but it's not my problem. Tip number 8, smudge sticks are a great way to calm the ghost down and greatly reduce the chance of a hunt starting. However, a passive calm ghost is also a ghost that gives fewer signs, which can make it harder to identify the spirit that you're working with. So smudge sticks can be a double-edged sword. You can also wait until a hunt starts and then use them, but at that point all they do is give you a little bit more time to hide. The best time to use smudge sticks are when you have to go back in and you want to check on ghostwriting books and things like that where a ghost may have already left activity, fingerprints and things like that, where the ghost has already done its thing and now you kind of want it to just stay calm and stay away. Tip number 9. Each site can usually only have so many lights on before the breaker will break and turn all the lights off on the location. So make sure to turn off lights that you don't need as you move around your location. Keep in mind, sometimes ghosts will turn lights on around the house. So don't always have your maximum amount of lights on because if a ghost turns one on, that'll break the breaker as well. And tip number 10, last but not least. The parabolic mic is really only good for large locations. It's really finicky and it's really hard to use. I would really only recommend using that in your very first initial sweeps, and then you abandon it pretty quickly. Or if you just like to use it because you think it's fun to use. Other than that, you probably want to avoid that item. But it does have its uses. Personally, I like it. I find it fun to play with. Alright, so we're just going to go down the list here, and I'm going to talk about all of the items as we go. EMF reader, you get one for free in your base kit, but you can bring additional if you want to have more members. Maybe you can sweep wider areas if you like to sweep with EMF readers. How the EMF reader works, it detects the field of the ghost itself or things the ghost has interacted with. So if you're having trouble getting an EMF reading, one thing you can do is ask the ghost to give you a sign and then go sweep things that it has moved or interacted with. The Ouija board is one that can give you a really strong reading, especially if you're trying to get that EMF 5 reading. The flashlight, this is the basic flashlight. It gives a pretty small cone of light, but it is enough to let you see around a location. You get one of these for free. If you're bringing along other people in your team, make sure everybody has a flashlight of their own. The photo camera. The photo camera is for taking pictures of evidence or pictures of the ghost. This is a great way to generate a little bit of extra money on each mission. Things you can take pictures of. If you find what looks like a little chicken bone laying around somewhere in the level randomly, take a picture of that, then pick the bone up. Take pictures of footprints and salt, writings in your demon writing book, fingerprints on the wall, and anything else paranormal that you find on your way. The picture has to be of the actual item. It cannot be a picture in the van of the thing on the van monitor. You won't get credit for it. Another example would be dirty water in a sink. Next up, the lighter. This really doesn't count as much of a light source. You use this to light smudge sticks and candles. The UV light, or the black light. This is used primarily to find fingerprints on doors, windows, or light switches. That's where you'll find your fingerprints. You can also shine it around on the floor if you want to look for footprints, which can help you track the exact and current location of a ghost. Usually if you see footprints, it'll be near a pile of salt. The footprints will be bright green, just like the fingerprints. The footprints, however, do not count as fingerprints when it comes to identifying what type of ghost you have. So if you see footprints, do not go into your journal and enter fingerprints. That does not count as evidence. Crucifix. This is a defensive item. You can put it down and it creates a bubble. It is a 3 meter radius, 6 diameter sized bubble. And how it works is you throw the crucifix down. It doesn't work if you hold it in your hand. It has to be thrown down on a surface. That bubble goes up, and then if the ghost tries to start its hunt while inside that bubble, the crucifix will cancel it. After doing that twice, the crucifix will disappear. If the ghost starts its hunt outside the crucifix, it can enter the bubble just fine. The crucifix will not have an effect on it. Its only use is to try and stop the hunt. If you're in a large room, you might need to use both crucifixes, and some rooms are still so large that that's not enough. And if the ghost manifests outside the room, it can still just walk in. So if you're dealing with a larger room, one tactic you might try using instead of blocking the room is instead blocking a nearby smaller room so that you know that that is a guaranteed safe place to run to. It can be a sort of safe haven. Or set it in the doorway and out into the hallway so that you know you have a clear path at least to run through till you can get down a hallway or downstairs or something like that. The video camera. This is great to set up on tripods. If you don't have the tripods, you can also just set them on shelves, TVs, the floor, whatever you want to do. These are primarily used to capture and sight ghost orbs. However, you still can use them to look for ghost activity, doors being opened, items being moved around, things like that. The video camera is also a really good item for newer players. In lieu of using sweeper items like sound sensors and things like that, what you can do is during your setup window in amateur and intermediate difficulty, you can use that time to go set up multiple cameras, then leave the site, and then just watch your cameras for a little while from the safety of the van. This will keep your sanity maxed out while giving you a safe way to navigate the site and look for clues on the ghost's location before you go back in. Spirit box. This is purely to help identify what type of ghost you're dealing with. Once you find the ghost room, go into the ghost's room, turn off the light, and look on the whiteboard. If the ghost says it wants you to be alone, then make sure you're the only one in the room. Then just talk and ask it a question. Some questions that work really well are, where are you? How old are you? Are you male or female? Those will usually give you some kind of response. You just need it to talk on the spirit box. Once you do, you can turn it off and throw it away. And then promptly write down spirit box response in the back of your journal. Salt is toxic to most kinds of ghosts and will reveal their footsteps. So basically, this is just low-tech tracking. Ways to use the salt. You can use it after you identify what room the ghost is in to help double verify if you're not sure, or if you just want to keep track of the ghost's movements, but you can also use it as an early sweeping tool. Run through the house and throw a pile of salt at every doorway and in each thin hallway. Then you can come back and check later for footsteps. Smudge sticks. We talked about these earlier in the tips. You can use the smudge stick to cleanse the area near the ghost or the ghost's room. This will calm it and make it much less likely to hunt, but then also lower activity, making it harder to identify. You can also wait for a hunt to start and then burn the smudge stick. That will give you a little bit more time to get to a hiding spot then. The easiest way to light this smudge stick if you're not in VR is to equip a lighter, light the lighter, and then rotate to the smudge stick, and then you just press F and it will automatically light the smudge stick. Tripod. This is just an easy way to mount your camera so that you don't have to go into a location and spin the camera around and set it on a bookshelf or a surface like that. You simply pick up the camera, turn it on, look at your tripod, press F to attach it to the tripod, then with an empty hand, not holding an item, you can crouch down and target the base of the tripod and you can pick it up and carry it around. go to the location you want the camera to be, face the location you want the camera to face, and then press G to drop it. This also makes it a really fast way to deploy a camera because you don't have to sit there and fiddle with rotating the camera around. You simply walk into a room, usually a corner, and just press G and drop it and walk out. Boom, done. Strong flashlight. This is just an upgrade from the regular flashlight. It's got a wider cone and more vision. Motion sensor. It's similar to Salt, but a little fancier. You can throw it in a hallway or in the door or the room where the spirit is or the ghost is, and it just helps you keep track of where they currently are, if they leave the room, if they're still in the room. I think most people use this as a way to complete the optional objective that you will sometimes have on your whiteboard out in the van. Sound sensor. This is a large area sweep tool. You can attach it to a wall and then leave that area and go back to the van and monitor from the safety of the van at the same time as preserving your sanity and just watch for sounds. When you're in the van, you'll notice that you'll have 4 big screens in one area. You'll have your sight EMF, and then directly above the sight EMF, you will have a spot for your 4 sound sensors, since you can bring up to 4 on a mission. Let's say you've put a sound sensor in a hallway. If that sound sensor detects any sound out in the van, you will see hallway, and then you will see a bar come up depending on how loud the noises are that the sound sensor is picking up. Keep in mind that if that hallway sensor picks up a sound in a nearby room, it will not say the name of that room. It just says it's the hallway sensor. It has picked up sound somewhere. And you can see the coverage of the sensor if you go to the map, which will be to the left of the sound sensor board. And the map will show you a big yellow square, and that's everywhere that the sound sensor is covering. Sound sensors are best used on larger maps or multi-story houses. If you don't have a full 4-man team to sweep with, you can throw sound sensors like upstairs, for example, and use it to cover the upstairs while you investigate downstairs. Sanity pills. Pretty straightforward. They give you back sanity. Right now, I think sanity pills are absurdly overpowered. I think they need a massive nerf. Thermometer. All ghosts can leave cold spots. A cold spot is any temperature that is below 10 degrees Celsius, but not below 0. Once you get below 0, that's freezing, and you can see your breath. You don't need a thermometer to check for a freezing breath because you'll see it. Also, the thermometer sometimes has an objective on the whiteboard out in the van, and it's good for completing that, which can net you some extra money. Ghost writing book. This one is similar to the spirit box. It's once you've found the ghost's room and you're trying to narrow down what type of ghost you have. You just simply put the ghost writing book in the ghost's room and wait. I personally have more luck if I place the book on an elevated surface. I don't know if that actually helps, but I've had better luck with it. But I've had the book written in while it's on the floor, and we've had the book written in while you're still holding it and it's in your hand, so it might not matter. It's just something that I've had a little bit more luck with. Infrared light sensor. This is kind of a motion sensor. It will not proc in the van, and it will not complete the motion sensor objective on the whiteboard as far as I know. When anything moves in front of this, it will just flash a bright LED light. So I guess it's a good way for you to, like, it'll catch your attention and let you know if you're there in the room. Oh, something I can't see just walked in the room. There was a big flash of light. I don't really know how this is useful, because it doesn't illuminate the ghost. As far as I know, you can't see the ghost, so you can't take pictures of it. So I'm going to be honest, I don't know what this item is for. I don't know what its use is. This sensor, just like the motion sensor, it only comes like 1 meter off the wall, so it's not like you can, you can't grid off an area with it. It just, I don't know, it seems kind of useless. I think this is probably the most useless item in the game. Glow sticks. I'll come back to the parabolic mic, don't worry. Glow sticks, again, this is a low-tech detection method. One of my favorite things to do is to crack glow sticks and then throw them near salt, especially once you kind of know where your ghost is. that will give you a permanent black light on the ground near the salt so that you can see ghost footsteps. I did one time have salt down during a hunt with black lights and saw the footsteps of a banshee, which I could not see. The banshee was invisible while hunting. I had no idea the banshee was coming for me as its target. I was downstairs in the kitchen of the 2-story L-shaped house. I still remember it because it was terrifying. And I was by the bar, and I just saw suddenly green footprints started appearing on the floor, and they were coming straight for me. So I promptly started running around the bar. And I was able to stay alive for quite a bit longer. A little bit longer. It still got me and I died, but had I realized it was a thing I could do, I might have set it up a little bit more intelligently and somehow got away, but not that time. Head-mounted camera. This allows you to put a camera on your head, and then a teammate can go in the van and watch what you're doing from the cam. Not very useful on small maps. That could be useful in Asylum if you're trying to do broad, fast sweeps on Asylum, because the ghost orbs in Asylum do tend to go out into the hallways a lot, so may not be a bad tool there. But that's pretty much it. It's straightforward. Alright, last but not least, the parabolic mic. Alright, so we talked about the wall-mounted sound sensor. The parabolic mic is the same thing, but it's handheld, which means it's going to put out a big square. The only difference is you don't monitor this one from the van, you monitor it from the little display on the back of the sensor itself. You're going to get in a hallway and you're going to walk down a hallway with it facing straight forward, and as you're walking down the hallway, you're just going to watch that number to see if it goes up. If the ghost doesn't make any sound when you walk by, you're not going to get any register. The best way to use this tool, mainly on Asylum and High School, it's your big maps, is to go down a hallway, carry the parabolic sensor, and then just continually ask the ghost, "Can you give me a sign? Can you give me a sign?" And hopefully it'll knock something over or flick something, and then the parabolic sensor will catch it if it's too quiet for you to hear it. Now, if it's loud, maybe it rings a phone or opens a door right in front of you, okay, cool, well then you saw it and heard it and you didn't need the mic, but the mic just broadens the scope and essentially lets you sweep off ghost activity more efficiently than you could without it. And you can definitely not use this item at all. I like it because it's kind of a weird item and it's kind of interesting and fun to use, so it's one of my favorite items. But it's very limited in scope, and it does require a little bit of luck at the same time, so if you do use it, you know, be prepared to be let down. But it is fun, and it can be useful, and it does allow you to essentially just walk down a hallway. You don't have to open doors, you don't have to check rooms or anything. You just walk down the hallway. Give me a sign. Can you give me a sign? And so you can sweep a large area very quickly. I wouldn't make continued passes. I'd do one sweep and then be done with it. And that's because there are bugs with it. One bug I was able to identify was that I had a piece of equipment that I threw on a shelf. Later, I pulled the parabolic mic out, and while pointing in that direction, I kept getting sound readings. Well, the sound of the piece of equipment hitting the surface left a residual trigger that kept triggering the parabolic mic, telling it there was sound when there really wasn't sound. So once teammates and yourself move through a location and disturb things and create sounds, you might get bugs or artifacts, residual sound triggers laying around the map, which would then give you a whole map full of red herrings, and then the parabolic mic is useless. So until it gets cleaned up and some of those bugs get fixed, it's best to use it as a quick preliminary sweep, and then you're done with it, put it away. Anyway, that covers every single item in the game on this list, so now let's move over to talking about the ghosts. Alright, here we are, the in-game journal. We're going to talk about the ghost types, but before I do, I just want to give a little nod to this journal here. It's actually really helpful. It introduces the ghosts, so it talks about those, what they are, your sanity, and it talks about how the ghosts prey off your sanity. And then, of course, it talks about each individual ghost, which is the part we're going to look at today. So first, let's start with the spirit, the most common ghost you will come across. Is still very powerful and dangerous. They're usually discovered at one of their hunting grounds after an unexplained death. Unique strengths, none. Weakness, using smudge sticks on a spirit will stop it attacking for a long period of time. With no strength and smudge sticks shutting down hunts for longer periods of time than normal, this makes the spirit the easiest ghost and the safest ghost to go against in the game. However, the spirit has no discerning behavior patterns. It's a ghost that can kill, and it haunts the place. It might flicker lights, it might not, it might be shy, it might be aggressive, it might be active, it might not be active. But while they are the safest and easiest ghosts to deal with, they can sometimes be a little bit difficult to figure out. Now in the book it says that they're the most common. I've not found this to be the case. I don't find spirits very often myself. I think that's more from a lore perspective. I think it's just saying like out in the world in general, spirits are like the most common type of ghost out there. Next we have the Wraith. A Wraith is one of the most dangerous ghosts you will find. It is also the only ghost that has the ability of flight and has sometimes been known to travel through walls. Unique strength. Wraiths will almost never touch the ground, meaning it can't be tracked by footsteps. And by tracked, it means like follow them around. But they do sometimes touch the grounds, and you will sometimes hear footsteps from a Wraith. So keep that in mind. A lot of people have been like, oh, I heard footsteps. It's not a Wraith. That's not true. Wraiths do touch the ground sometimes, and they do walk, and sometimes you'll hear a couple of steps, but then nothing else after that, and they go back to gliding around. As far as, like, why are they the most dangerous? I don't know, honestly. Like, Wraiths do tend to be really active and aggressive, I feel, but Jinns and Oni are as well. I think what makes the Wraith dangerous is that it's active, but it can be active in more than one place at a time because it can cut through the walls, and because that means it can start a hunt in the next room over, making it very easy for it to dodge crucifixes. And I'm not 100% sure, but while it's hunting, I believe it can walk and see through closed doors. So if you lock yourself into a closet, but that's all it is, just a closet and a door, I'm pretty sure the Wraith can see you through the door and then walk in and kill you with ease. So, while it's only a little difference, it's enough, right? So, caution on those. Now, what's the toxic reaction assault? I don't know. Alright, next up is the Phantom. A Phantom is a ghost that can possess the living, most commonly summoned by the Ouija board. It also induces fear into those around it. Unique strength. Looking at the Phantom will considerably drop your sanity. Weaknesses. Taking a photo of the Phantom will make it temporarily disappear. Alright, so as far as possessing people, there is a super rare event that if you're using a Ouija board and the ghost is a Phantom, it can possess you. It's rare enough that I've never seen it, but I've heard of people who have, and they said it's not really that big of a deal. I don't know what that means. It's a pretty minor event, whatever it is, I guess. The main thing about the Phantom is that if you do try and get it to appear so that you can take a picture of it, rather you say, show yourself, and you just see like a little shadowy form. It's not hunting, it just appears so that you can see it. It destroys your sanity. Absolutely destroys it very quickly, faster than a Yuri, but when it's not showing itself, it won't affect your sanity at all, whereas Yuris kind of have a constant drain on your sanity. I guess the danger with Phantoms is you might sit at like 50 sanity and be like, we're okay. And then you get 3 people in a room, the Phantom appears, and everybody goes from 50 to like 20 all of a sudden, right? And then you're in a really bad place, and then hunts start happening, and yeah, you get the picture. Using a camera to take a picture, speaking of the Phantom to make it disappear doesn't really protect you from its hunt. It'll blink out for like a second or two, and that's it. Now, once it manifests, taking a picture of it will get it to go away, which can save your sanity there. So it's a good idea if you do try and coax it out to get a photo of it that you take a picture of it as soon as possible to then get rid of it. As far as behavior patterns for Phantom, they pretty much share the exact same behavior patterns as the Spirit. They're kind of all over the place. I would say that they definitely are a little bit more prone to staying near their room, though. They're not a ghost that roams heavily, so there is that. Poltergeist. This is the famous one, right? Everybody knows what a poltergeist is. They move stuff a lot, and they'll move multiple objects at once. One dead giveaway for a poltergeist is if you see multiple doors open or shut at the exact same time. That's almost without fail the dead giveaway of a poltergeist. Or, of course, if you see like 2 or 3 or 4 items all move at the same time in different areas, that's a dead giveaway as well. Now, if they're on a table and they're close to each other, I've seen other ghosts move multiple items when they're next to each other. I don't think that's a big deal. It's when the items are far apart and then still all get interacted with at the same time. Unique strengths. Poltergeist can throw huge amounts of objects all at once. That's not a big deal now, but I think it will be later once destructible items get added to the game and maybe even potentially some damage. I have a feeling that getting hit by breakable items like a glass that hits you and shatters will probably take a chunk out of your sanity or something. I don't know, we'll see. Weakness, a poltergeist is almost ineffective in an empty room. For example, we had a poltergeist in the gymnasium of the high school. There's nothing in there. And sure, it was ineffective, but that also made it incredibly hard to identify. But it also didn't seem to want to, we had trouble finding ghost orbs, and it didn't even want to talk on the spirit box. It was just kind of like a bump on the log, because I guess it was sad because it couldn't throw things. I don't know. But one thing about poltergeists I will say, though, is they do seem to be one of the ghosts that roam a lot more than some of the others. I've seen poltergeists especially in the asylum, move around a lot and turn on a lot of different sinks in a lot of different areas. So that's one thing to keep an eye out. There's another ghost that does that too, but we'll get to that. Banshee is a natural hunter and will attack anything. It has been known to stalk its prey at one time until making its kill. Unique strength, the Banshee will only target one person at a time, but it will do so incessantly. Banshees fear the crucifix and will be less aggressive when near one. Their activity levels definitely drop, similar to being affected by a smudge stick. But the real thing here is, if we talked about the crucifix earlier and how it created that 3-meter radius, 6-meter diameter bubble, with the Banshee, that's increased to 5-meter radius and a 10-meter diameter. So against a Banshee, the crucifix can actually keep you a lot more safe. And that's a big deal since this is a ghost that can pick people out and then be very aggressive in trying to kill that one person. The Djinn is a territorial ghost that attack when threatened. It's also been known to be able to travel at significant speed. Unique strength, the Djinn will travel at a faster speed if its victim is far away. Weakness, turning off the location's power source will prevent the Djinn from using its ability, and that is the traveling faster if they're farther away. Alright, so Djinns are the kind of like blindside you ghost, right? You'll get no signs, everything seems passive, and then you'll walk into the Djinn's room, and then all of a sudden lights start flickering, stuff starts getting moved around. They tend to get on the spirit box really quick, and you're going to hear, get out, die, death, kill. They really do not like you being in the room at all. There is a key behavior pattern of the Djinn, and that's that they seem to favor electronics. They'll talk on the ghost box faster than other ghosts will. They like to turn on radios. They love to flicker power. They turn lights off. They turn lights on. If it's electronic, the Djinn loves messing with it. I don't know why. That's just their jam, I guess. But about the unique strength, Djinns are hard to get away from. If that power source is on and the Djinn starts a hunt, boy, you better hope you're already in a hiding spot, because they catch up and they catch up fast. Alright, the Mayor. Now, the Mayor is the ghost that I personally fear the most. This is the one that gives me the most trouble. And we'll get to the behavior patterns and you'll understand why. Alright, so the Mayor is the source of all nightmares, making it most powerful in the dark. Unique strength, the Mayor will have an increased chance to attack in the dark. Weaknesses, turning on the lights around the Mayor will lower its chance to attack. Alright, so here's the deal with the Mayor. The mayor is by far the ghost that roams the most. And especially on Asylum, that is problematic, because you might find the mayor's room and then turn on the lights, but then it will inhabit the hallway. Maybe it decides to go down the hallway. I've had a mayor turn on bathroom sinks in one wing and turn on bathroom sinks in the other wing completely, traveling vast distances. If it's dark, they just like being there. This makes it very hard to abuse their weakness of turning on the lights around them, because they'll go somewhere else. The only reprieve you really have is that you can get lights in the room where the crucifix is, and then have a guaranteed safety room that you know you can run to when a hunt starts. That makes candles really useful, especially in the asylum. So against a mayor, crucifixes for a safe room, candles to keep some lights in the area, but still, this ghost is going to be all over the place, which means that it could find you and attack you before you ever even find its room. It's when you're on the asylum, it is a literal nightmare to deal with this ghost. In a small house, not so much, because there's not a lot of places to roam, and it's a lot easier to get a lot of lights on and shut it down. The Revenant is a slow but violent ghost that will attack indiscriminately. Has been rumored to travel at significantly high speeds when hunting. So the Revenant doesn't roam. It's like the opposite of the mayor. It stays in one spot, and it doesn't start traveling fast until it hunts, but oh boy. This is one of those ghosts that can be in the attic, and you can run downstairs and hide in the kitchen, and it'll make its way downstairs to the kitchen and find you. Revenants are dangerous. Weakness. Hiding from the Revenant will cause it to move very slowly. In other words, once a hunt starts, get to a hiding spot ASAP. And then be quiet, don't talk on the mic, don't give yourself away, don't do anything, just hide. And one last thing I want to highlight on is what this means about attacking indiscriminately. When ghosts go into hunt mode, they will often pick a target. Now, the Banshee picks a target, a favorite target, and keeps it for the entire mission until they're dead. Other ghosts, as soon as they hit hunt, will pick out a target for that hunt and then try and hone in on that one. Usually targets that have been in the dark longer, low sanity targets, things like that. The Revenant doesn't care. Whoever's closest, it goes for. If somebody else gets in its way, it's going to switch targets and kill that one. Again, this makes a hunting Revenant kind of dangerous. The Shade, known as the Shy Ghost. There's evidence that a Shade will stop all paranormal activity if there are multiple people nearby. Unique strengths. Being shy means the ghost is harder to find. Absolutely true. Weaknesses. The ghost will not enter hunting mode if there are multiple people nearby. That's a big deal. That is a big deal. But you have to be really close to each other. So if you think you're starting to deal with the Shade, just stay, groups of 2, groups of 3, and stay really huddled up. But as long as you do that, you're safe from hunts against the Shade. However, the problem then arises if you mistake it and it turns out it's not a Shade and you're being super fearless, and someone can get killed real quick. The Demon, one of the worst ghosts you can encounter, has been known to attack without reason. Unique strengths. Ghosts will attack more often than any other ghost. More often and without reason. So demons can attack into high sanity, although they won't do that frequently. That will definitely be a more rare event, but it can happen, which means they can attack during the setup time. It is rare, but it can happen. Weakness. Asking a demon successful questions on the Ouija board won't lower the user's sanity, which means the Ouija board can be a guaranteed way to identify a demon. Other things that might give away a demon is the fact that they do tend to be a little bit more active. And so you can say things like, please give me a sign, and things like that. And usually a demon will perk up and throw it out there pretty quick. And then you want crucifixes, smudge sticks, and everything you can to calm and shut the demon down. Yuri, a ghost that has returned to the physical world, usually for the purpose of revenge or hatred. Unique strength. The Yuri has been known to have a stronger effect on people's sanity. You watch your sanity, and if you feel like your sanity is going down a little bit faster than normal, that's a good tip-off that you're going to deal with the Yuri. Weakness. Smudging the Yuri's room will cause it to not wander around the location. In other words, if you smudge the room, it then traps the Yuri in its room, which can be a good thing because now you can pin it down and force all its clues out of it right in there, and make it more passive at the same time so it won't go into a hunt phase. The biggest thing to watch out for the Yuri is that this is a ghost that will kind of roam. Not as much as a mare, not as much as a poltergeist, but it is one that likes to roam. And it will appear passive at first, but as your sanity lowers, it preys on sanity more than any other ghost. Watch it, because once you get down low, hunts will all of a sudden trigger, and then they will trigger back to back to back. Yuris are passive until they get your sanity down, and then they just turn into absolute monsters. It's this really nasty ramp-up period. Against a Yuri, this is the one thing that you're like, yeah, I need sanity pills. I need sanity pills to deal with this ghost. They are very dangerous to deal with. But as long as you identify it early and you manage your sanity properly, Yuris aren't that big of a deal. It's also a freezing temperature ghost, which usually means you can find it quicker than you would a normal ghost. The Oni! The Oni's a fun one. Onis are cousin to the demon and possess extreme strength. There have been rumors that they become more active around their prey. Unique strengths, the Onis are more active when people are nearby and have been seen moving objects at great speed. Onis make noise. They're noisy like the poltergeist. Also, when you get near them, rather it's because you got into their room or they decided to roam and ran into you, the Oni will just start doing stuff. And that makes them super easy to identify, which is their weakness. Being more active will make the Oni easier to find and identify, and that's absolutely true. The only problem is that the Oni and the Jinn can be a little confusing because the Jinn is territorial. When you walk into the Jinn's territory, it goes off the handle. But with an Oni, if you walk up and get close to the Oni, which might be in its room, then it starts getting all crazy and active, which can appear to make it behave like a Jinn. The difference is that an Oni roams more than a Jinn does. And then as soon as you get near them, they become active. So the one drawback about the Oni is sometimes it can trick you into thinking that its homeroom is a different room than it is, because you caught it roaming. If you're struggling to get like ghost riding and stuff like that, move around a little bit, maybe see if you don't actually have the wrong room. But anyway, let's jump into this gameplay and kind of put all this stuff together and do something fun. Alright, so I want to keep this guide from just being monstrously long. So we're going to do a speed run. That's going to be our little gameplay here. We're going to try and put everything together, or some of the things from the guide in practice here. And we're going to speed run a Tanglewood. So let's get that. We're going to get our parabolic mic out. And some salt. And I'm just going to prod heavily into this. Let's get a light on. The one... Oh, 5? I think 5 was the ceiling fan. Can you give me a sign? .5, I don't know if that's the lightning. Some creaking. Can you give me a sign? Alright, so we're going to say over here, let's get some salt down. Here. Here. And perhaps here. Let's turn the backlight on. Can you give me a sign? A little shy. We'll turn the entryway light off because I don't want to overload the fuse box just yet, or ever, if I can help it. Key in case that incessant car goes off because it freaks me out. Alright, not ready to call it on that yet. EMF is our next best bet. Let's get black light. So I'm going to be asking for signs, and if it closes something, I'm going to get fingerprints off of it right then and there. Whoop, here we go. Looks like we're off on the parabolic. I think that ceiling fan might have red herringed us up a bit. I'm going to get these lights turned off because I'm not going to be in this part of the building. And I want lights on over there. I will keep an eye on that assault. Okay, I hear other doors over here, so it's messing with stuff quite a bit. React heavily to my presence. I want lights on here and here. That is a hardcore EMF 5 right off the bat. Parabolic isn't really all that useful for a building this small, but it's kind of fun to use. Alright, so right off the bat, what do we have? We got Demon and Oni vibes. It did open the doors, so I need to verify the fingerprints, which I didn't do earlier because I was a little panicky. The game doesn't scare me as much now when I've got backup with me, but still scares the crap out of me when I don't. This thing is just jacking with doors, dude. Every time I go in there, it pisses off, doesn't it? Raise your hand if you think it's a Jinn. Definitely didn't get fingerprints. Alright, so what are we looking at for Oni? EMF level 5. Do we get that on Jinn? EMF level 5. So, Ghost Orb, Spirit Box. Demon's going to give us some writing. Spirit Box. Spirit Box and writing. I completely expect to get the Spirit Box, and then the writing's going to be the tiebreaker. It's roaming a little bit. We saw it in there flickering some lights. Where are you? How old are you? Old, I think? I don't know. Last time I thought it said gem and it said kill, so now I'm second guessing myself. Alright, so we knew Spirit Box, right? We knew we were gonna get that. Whoop, let's go. And writing will get the Oni, and what's the final thing for Jinn? And that's a Ghost Orb, baby. So we set this up in the bathroom to watch our ghost writing book and for Ghost Orbs all at the same time. What's our sanity at? Make sure I'm not about to die. We're golden on sanity. The in and the out, the in and out. That's a glorious bit about a small house. I'm in and out so fast. Oh, hey there. You're a piece of shit and I hate you. Oh my god, Jesus Christ. Okay, well, it hates me. I hate it. I hate all of about this. Fuck off. Fuck you a whole lot. Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, I get it. You don't want me here. You don't want me here. God, this game makes my hair stand up. Okay, well, it's very angry. Oh my god, is it angry? Jesus, is it angry? Okay, well. Well. Oh. Did it turn the light on in the bathroom? It's super bright in there. It's not a very good angle, is it? Nah, it's not a good angle at all. It's turning the lights on me now. Seems like it's out in the hallway more than it is in that bathroom, doesn't it? Now that I'm gone, it's deadline. Oni and Jinn would both do that. So, next time we go in, it's Crucifix in the hallway. It's Crucifix in the hallway. I definitely think it tried to go for a kill there, but my sanity was too high, and it just wanted to get in my face a little bit. Yeah, I know. I know there's at least half of all of you right now. Get the picture! But I'm scared. Alright, crucifix first. Crucifix in the hallway. Ooh, got it one out. I forgot to get the picture. I know, I forgot to get the picture. Oh, I'll get it. Look at this thing. God, this is so Generoni. This is much better for ghost orbs, right? But I can't see the book from here. Oh, there's the orb right there. Did you see it right at the very top for a split second? That confirms the Jinn, as we expected, and boy is he getting angry. Well, we have to go in and get the, oh, well, I didn't bring smudge sticks, because, we're speedrunning. Well, wish me luck. We survived. Is this dirty water? Alright, let's get out of here. Tanglewood speedrun, super quick. Angry Jinn. Spooky. Boom, Jinn. Easy $100. Anyway, that's the guide. Hope you guys liked it. We'll catch you in the next video. See you later.